Hey, this is Suzanne, and we want to thank Thrive Academics Assessments for sponsoring Not by the Book. Unlock your students' potential with Thrive Academics Assessments. For just $25, gain unlimited access to their comprehensive online assessments for Math K-12 and Reading K-11 throughout the entire school year. Thrive Assessments are developed by Scantron Corporation and have administered over 170 million tests. They're norm referenced. You can compare your child's performance to national standards, Florida State approved assessments, computer adaptive, so you can pinpoint your student's exact skill level, online and flexible. There are no time limits, no proctor needed, and you can take tests anytime 24/7. Affordable and comprehensive. One low price of $25 for both subjects. Easy to read reports that help identify your child's strengths and weaknesses. Step Up for Students scholarships mandate an annual assessment. Thrive Academics is the best and most affordable solution. You can purchase directly from Thrive or the My Scholar Shop. Ready to see the difference? Visit the My Scholar Shop today and purchase your Thrive assessments. For more details, visit www.assessk12.com.
Our fifth grade class took a field trip to the Guthrie Theater. The Guthrie Theater is pretty well known in the on-stage world. A lot of Broadway people perform there, and a lot of plays start there before they move to Broadway. One would be, a very big one would be The Lion King, for instance. But we took a field trip when I was 11 years old, and we saw The Merchant of Venice. It was Shakespeare. I didn't know what the heck they were saying because I was 11 and it was Shakespeare, but I fell in love with acting right there and then. I told my parents I'm going to be an actor. I think they probably thought I was just going through a phase, but I was also a jock, and that's something you just don't admit to your jock buddies. You wanted to get up on the stage and act with girls.
From the Florida Parent Educators Association, home of the largest homeschool convention in America, this is the Not by the Book podcast. I'm your host, FPEA Chairman Suzanne Nunn, and together we will hear from guests who share their journey to who and where they are today. Each one of them at some point left the expected path, ripped the page out of the book that says you have to do it like this, and made their own way. I hope these conversations inspire you as much as they do me. Today I have a chance to sit down with Kevin Sorbo, actor, producer, and director. Kevin's is an inspiring story of what it looks like to pursue passions, make the most of open doors, and being sure that no one puts limitations on what you can do. He is a champion for freedom, families, faith, and wholesome entertainment. Listen now as he shares his story.
I'm the fourth of 5 kids. I got 2 older brothers, older sister, and younger brother. I grew up in a small town about 25 miles west of Minneapolis called Mound, Minnesota. It's on the western shore of Lake Minnetonka. We were home to Tonka Toys. That's a trivia question right there. And my dad was a school teacher, 7th and 8th grade math and biology, did that for 35 years. My mom was a nurse, but quickly became a stay-at-home mom because, well, 5 kids.
Did you have a lot of time outside playing?
We lived in a dead-end, well, now they call them cul-de-sacs, don't they? We lived in a dead-end street. And we had 7 homes in that street, and we had about 25 kids total on that street. So a lot of games outside, a lot of football, basketball, baseball games we just made up. We played dodgeball with frisbees. So we would just go crazy flipping frisbees at each other, which they wouldn't do today because it's too dangerous. Well, I survived, and so. Great. I got friends from that neighborhood, 2 buddies of mine that we're still friends to this day, and we get together at least once a year.
That's fantastic. Those memories. So, fast forwarding a little bit, in high school, my understanding is you did play some sports that were a little bit more formal than your outside time with friends. Is that accurate? Were you into sports some in high school?
Oh, yeah. I was football, basketball, baseball, and golf.
Okay.
My dad, in the summers, with 5 kids, he's got to work another job on a school teacher's salary. So he worked as at a golf course, public course, about 3 miles from my home. He ended up being the manager there for about 27 years. Right. And so we all got hooked on golf very young because we couldn't afford golf. But now my dad worked there. So he made us play because it was free because he was working there. But all 5 kids ended up, when we got old enough, like high school level and college, we all worked on that course in the summertime, mowing the fairways, greens. Golf is, to this day, like I play a lot.
Perfect.
And as a so-called celebrity, I've been very lucky in my celebrity world to be invited to so many golf tournaments. I played with everybody from Tiger Woods, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus. I mean, I've met them all and played with Gary Player. I mean, I'm about to play in another Pro-Am up in Minneapolis with the PGA. So I love that game. It's always been part of my life. But yeah, my favorite sports are probably football and basketball. And yeah, still played those up through college as well, and just love sports. It was just all 5 of us kids were active in sports.
What part when did you start getting interested in theater or acting? When did that come into play?
Well, it's kind of an interesting road. I was in 5th grade, and our school, our 5th grade class took a field trip to the Guthrie Theater. The Guthrie Theater is pretty well known in the on-stage world. A lot of Broadway people perform there, and a lot of plays start there before they move to Broadway. One would be, a very big one would be The Lion King, for instance. But we took a field trip when I was 11 years old, and we saw The Merchant of Venice. It was Shakespeare. I don't know what the heck they were saying because I was 11 and it was Shakespeare, but I fell in love with acting right there and then. I told my parents I'm going to be an actor. I think they probably thought I was just going through a phase, but I was also a jock, and that's something you just don't admit to your jock buddies. You want to get up on the stage and act with girls. So I kept it quiet, that whole clique world. I was in that jock world, but I was friends with the nerds, the burnouts. I mean, I talked to everyone in my school. I mean, I was very friendly with everybody in my schools. And I wasn't until I really got to college. I had a double business major. I would take a minor in drama, and I really started going after it. And that's when I also signed with an agency in Minneapolis for commercials. So I did a lot of commercial work. And that's how I got that all-important Screen Actors Guild card. A lot of people don't realize that Minneapolis is like the 3rd biggest market in the country for commercials, because you got national headquarters from Target, Best Buy, 3M, Pillsbury, General Mills. I mean, there's so many big companies that are national headquarters there. So I was able to get my SAG card before I moved to LA. And it was an easy transition in terms of getting a commercial agent because I already had a really good reel.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You don't think about that being in Minnesota, where people would break out and do that. But that's very interesting. So you were doing modeling and acting in commercials before you hit, I think, probably what I would first recognize for you, and that was Hercules, right?
Yeah, but there was once again an interesting road. It's always about a girl. I met a girl, and she was moving to Dallas, Texas. So I followed her down there after college. Spent about a year and a half there. She was a big time model, so she really got me kind of rolling in that world.
Okay.
I didn't care for. I like doing commercials a lot more than standing there posing for pictures. I was never really comfortable doing that. I like movement. So then I was going to move to LA, and she said, "Just come to Italy with me and spend one summer in Italy before you go." And I thought that would be kind of cool. Well, 3 months turned into 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
I got sort of discovered, so to speak, by Gianni Versace, and I did a lot of commercial work and stuff with Versace and got to know him very well. Worked with Giorgio Armani. I lived in Milan about 8 months, lived in Munich a year and a half, lived in Paris 6 months. I mean, I spent 3.5 years traveling all through Europe, and it really made me grow up. It was amazing. And then I finally moved to LA to pursue the actor's dream, but I got the very first audition I was only in town 3 days, and I booked a job that shot in Australia. And I flew to Australia, and it was a 2-week shoot. And then I decided to stay, which made my agent not very happy in LA. They said, "You just moved out here." And I said, "Well, I wrote a book report on this country when I was like 12 years old. I've always wanted to come here." So I signed with a commercial agent down there. I did two plays, live plays, and I did 7 commercials and was down there for about 8 months.
Oh, wow.
And then I finally make my way to LA. So now I'm 27, going on 28 now. So I really had a big sidetrack to my life.
But what an interesting, did you graduate from college before all of
this?
this?
I dropped out with just 3 months left to go.
Yeah.
I had a chance. I took this chance to go to Dallas. I wanted to go, and I joined a theater group down there as well and signed with an agency down there. And I told my dad, I said, "Look, I don't need to be in college to pursue acting. This is what I want to do. I know how to I'm that close to getting a double major in business. I think I've learned enough. To me, it's called show business, not show. So I treated Hollywood like the business that it was.
Right.
And I said, the biggest words that were kryptonite to me when people kept saying, well, you could go back and finish your degree so you have something to fall back on. I said, I ain't going to fall back on nothing. I'm going to make it as an actor. And I was focused, and boom, I was always been a very stubborn kid that way when I got my mind set on something.
Well, it helped you. I mean, you did it, and you've been very successful. So, I mean, it served you well, right? So Hercules, tell us a little bit about starting there, because now you had done other parts and other shows and things before you hit Hercules, as well, right?
Well, I got involved in. My dad always said, whatever makes you uncomfortable, that's what you should go after.
Mm-hmm.
And I always kind of kept that with me because when everybody's an actor in LA, so it was no problem finding. I had an agent already commercially, and I got a theatrical agent pretty quick after that. But I would ask people, everybody actors, who do you study with? Who's the best guy to study with? And you could audit classes to go in there and see. And when I heard about the first guy was named Roy London, they said, very difficult to get in his class. And I said, then that's the class I want to audition for. And I did that with 3 coaches. I started with 3 coaches over like a 5.5-year period before I got Hercules. And I took, basically almost 2 years with each one of them. But they were like the tougher ones I got into. You auditioned, you had to work under their second sort of secondary coaches who would make that decision if you can move up to that class. And I really dove into it, and I worked my butt off on it, and I worked very well commercially. I never had to work another job. I did commercials, paid very well, and the rent paid the rent. I got lucky with an apartment right on the Santa Monica Venice border, close to the ocean, close to Gold's Gyms. That was heaven for me, and I was still in my 20s and stuff. And I just worked really hard at it, and I never gave up on it. And that was just sort of the goal for me. And then when I got the audition for Hercules, I'd already done couple pilots that didn't get picked up, but I knew things were going my way because I was getting the lead. One was a series for ABC, another one was for CBS. Ultimately didn't get picked up, but I took solace in the fact that Tom Selleck had 7 failed pilots before he got Magnum PI. So I looked at it, it was like, just keep plugging along. And I did guest spots on Murder, She Wrote, Cheers, The Commission. So I was doing stuff. So I was staying busy. But then when Hercules came along, it was 7 auditions. They called me back 6 times after the initial one. Wow. And I got down the last 3 guys, and I was at Universal Studios with Sam Raimi was exec producer. And Sam's very famous. He did the Evil Dead movies and, kind of campy horror movies, but he was also known for directing the first 2 Spider-Mans and things like that. He's a good director. Right. He was our exec producer, and I gave a great reading. I cracked a couple jokes. There was like 50 people in the room, all these men and women, the power players there at Universal that decide the television shows. And I walked out, and 3 days later, they called and said, you got the role. And it was just going to be 1 year initially. It was supposed to be 5 2-hour movies. We shot each movie for 10 weeks. And I had the honor of working an entire year as with Anthony Quinn playing Zeus, which was amazing. He's to work with the guy fantastic. That's, from the golden age of Hollywood, has been nominated 6 times for Oscars. He's won twice. And I learned a lot from him, became very good friends for the last 8 years of his life there. And Sam and I, my wife and I, we went to the funeral, and it was pretty cool to be part of that. And halfway through the 3rd movie, I knew it was going to become a series because there's nothing like this on TV. Yeah. And sure enough, Universal called and said, you're going to stay down there. And we started the TV series, shooting 22 episodes each year. And by the 3rd season, I know this is a sin of pride, but we became the most watched TV show in the world in 176 countries. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. And that's funny because, like I said, I think that's where, definitely I remember knowing who you were from that point forward. So, because we watched Hercules, and you met your wife through.
I did at the end of season 4. Sam came to guest star on the show, and I was smitten immediately. I mean, I knew that. I said, I'm in trouble. This is it. My single days are over, and we had a date, and we hit it off so quickly. And then she went back. She was still working on. She had a recurring role on Chicago Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Hope and ER came out at the same time. And I remember from when she was in the second last episode of season 4, and I finished the 22nd episode, and I flew to Bratislava, Slovakia to shoot my first big budget movie called Kull the Conqueror. Kull was the father of Conan the Barbarian in the books and also in the comic books.
Yeah.
And I invited her to come over. She had like 2 weeks off. And I said, look, I'm flying to my dad. My mom couldn't fly. She just got with back surgery, so she couldn't fly. But I flew my dad in, and I said, my dad will be here. You'll get your own hotel room. You'll be perfectly safe. So she flew in and met my dad, and we had a 3-day weekend. I was working 6-day weeks, but we had one 3-day weekend when she was there that we drove into Vienna, which is only about an hour drive west from Bratislava, Slovakia. And Sam speaks 5 languages fluently. So German is one of them. So she was our guide when we were in Austria, and my dad just had a blast. And when he hugged me and he whispered in my ear, he goes, "This one's a keeper, Kev." And he's never said that about anybody I've dated before. So we got engaged. She left to go shoot her series. And I got a call from Universal saying, we really like the Sam Jenkins. And we thought, just want to make sure that you want to work with her again. They were protecting me. If she was difficult and just not a good person to work with, they wanted me not to put up with, because a 3-show arc means she's going to be down there for at least 2 months. And I said, no, she was great. And I called her up, hey, they're going to call you. And of course she took the job, and that did it. 2 months together, all the time working every day and spending weekends together, taking hikes and stuff. We knew, and with less than 6 months, we got engaged. So we knew.
What a great story. And she's wonderful. I love Sam, and I know that you guys have done a lot of great things together as well, in community and family efforts, a lot of things that you all serve in your community well. And so moving forward after Hercules, what was your next step? Because they finally, that was like mid-season, wasn't it, when it ended?
It was. They were talking about doing seasons 8, 9, and 10. Universal was calling me, but I got a call halfway through season 7 from Majel Roddenberry. Majel's the widow of Gene Roddenberry, who created the Star Trek series, and I'm a huge fan of the Star Trek series. As a kid, watching reruns in the 70s and 80s, I loved that show. Yeah. And she said that Gene had written a show back in 1969 when Star Trek was canceled. And said the captain he created, she said, if my husband were alive, I think you'd be the best person he'd say to fill in the first captain after Captain Kirk with Captain Dylan Hunt. And I said, are you kidding me? I took the job right there, and we finished Hercules and had about a 4-month layover, but I was exec producer on that one, on Andromeda. And so I was kind of busy right away. And then we shot for 5 years up in Vancouver, Canada. Did 110 episodes. We were about to do 2 more seasons, but then Tribune out of Chicago owned the series, and they went into bankruptcy. And it wasn't because of us. We were the #1 show in first-run syndication. They had other problems going on within other business things going on, from radio stations. The Chicago Cubs were losing $80 million a year and all this stuff. So they defreezed the assets. So we got robbed of 44 more episodes, and I really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, that was another great show, honestly. So I guess moving forward, you really have done a ton of movies and, a lot of work. When did you start to shift to a place where you were interested in doing things that really promoted family and faith? And how did you get from, your basic Hollywood story to that part of your story?
Well, I've shot over 90 movies. There's a dozen I wish I didn't do, but you don't go in thinking they're going to suck when you do them. But sometimes it happens that way. It was 2010. Dallas Jenkins was friends of our family. They had kids roughly the same age as ours, and we were friends with him. He and his wife, and he sent me a script called "What If," and I read this script, and I just said, "This is amazing." Who's playing Pastor Ben? And he said, well, I got this guy, maybe this guy. I said, no, I got to play it. And he says, I can't afford you. It's a really low budget movie. And I said, then pay me scale. Pay me, if it's a SAG movie, just pay me the lowest amount the actor gets paid. I said, I've got to do this movie, this role. And What If, in my book, is a better movie than God's Not Dead, which came out 2 years later. It's the same writers. God's Not Dead blew up, great word of mouth. But What If, I feel, is a better movie. And I talk about it all the time over these last 10, 12 years. And all of a sudden, I get a call from Dallas here about 6 months ago. And he said, the streaming has gone crazy on the show over the last 6, 7 years. It gets bigger and bigger every year. So we're going to re-release this movie, and it's coming out this summer in August. They're going to re-release a movie that's 15 years old, or it'd be 13 years old now, in the theaters in August. So hope all the listeners here will check out What If. In my book, it's a better movie than God's Not Dead. But that really was the first unapologetically really faith-based movie, and I said, this is the road I want to go down. This is the road God intended me to go on, and make movies like this. Instead of the crap that Hollywood keeps throwing at us that just says over-sexualized, murder, violence, hate, anger, just this whole thing that just pushing down. And I think they've had a huge influx in, sort of what they've done, I think, is made the world a worse place as far as I'm concerned. And I love the fact that so many more people are now doing faith-based and family-friendly independent movies. And that's pretty much all I've been doing over the last 15 years.
And we'll be right back. Florida homeschool families, we see you, and we're here to support your journey. At Bridgeway Academy, we've empowered over 30,000 families with flexible, accredited K-12 programs that meet you where you are. Whether you're just getting started or refining what works, Bridgeway gives you the freedom to choose fully online, self-paced, or a blended program with expert guidance every step of the way. For a limited time, FPEA families can take advantage of an exclusive offer. Enroll for the 2025-26 school year by July 31st and lock in your tuition rate through 2028. That's up to 3.5 years of consistency and support that grows with your child. To learn more, go to info.homeschoolacademy.com/FPEA. Again, that's info.homeschoolacademy.com/FPEA. Bridgeway Academy, empowering Florida homeschool families with choice. And now back to the show. Well, and I think it's important for those movies to be strong, to be well done, and having people that have, some background and are known and can bring good acting to that and good producing to that is important, and I think that it's been really refreshing to see that there are people who will, even if it causes them to be canceled in the other culture that they've, operated in, that they'll stand up for what's true and good and for family, because so much is against family and operating against our family unit in our world today, so it's been refreshing.
Well, I like the fact more and more independent producers are doing that. And, we're lucky enough to maybe raise enough money every 2 years to do our own movies. I have a number of scripts that were given to me. It's very frustrating. I do movies in the $3 million range. That sounds like a lot of money. That's catering budget in Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are $300 million movies that have a $100 million advertising budget, So how do you compete against that when they can put a trailer in every football game, every soap opera, every sitcom? Right. And I got to get on, do what I can to try to get the word out on these movies. So I'm blessed to have all these other independent people give me a call and say, hey, we want you in our movie. Sam and I already shot. I shot 2 already this year. Sam's in one of them, and it's called Christmas Eve, and that movie is being released in before Christmas. Probably come out before Thanksgiving this year. And then I just shot another movie based on a true story. I don't know if you know the story about this Polish pastor up in Calgary in Canada that got put in prison for keeping his church open during COVID. I mean, what they did to this guy, they put him in solitary confinement without a bed. They made him sleep on the concrete floor.
That's crazy.
He's in prison for like 6 months. It's just for opening his church. And I always joke, I said he should have been an owner of a strip club or a liquor store because those were fine to keep those open.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's really, and people need to pay the price for what they've done. You know, whether it's our government or any other government. I think Fauci's a criminal.
Yeah.
I think that what they did to the world, what they did to everybody using fear as a weapon to control our lives. I lost millions of followers on Facebook. They took me down. They banned me because everything I said was conspiracy theories. But all my theories, of course, came true.
Yeah.
Masks don't work. 6 feet was ridiculous. I mean, all that stuff. It's incredible what they did to the world. It's unbelievable. It's unforgivable. And I'm hoping President Trump, I can't imagine he's not wanting to do something about this. He's got so much going on right now, I know, but
right.
It's pathetic what they did. And closing down schools and forcing people to take shots. And I mean, it's just, it was absolutely ridiculous what they did.
Well, and I think that there's so many people who would absolutely agree. And through that time, we've seen a rise for people who are just kind of calling back to home and to family and to what is truth and what is good. I know you just did the American Miracle too. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, it goes back to the founding of our nation and what it was all about.
Yeah. Tim Mahoney's a friend of mine. He's from Minnesota like me. I did one of his first documentaries. I narrated it. And it was called Exodus, Proof of Evidence, where he spent a lot of time over in Egypt through archaeological digs to prove that the Exodus happened. And, every time you can prove the Bible isn't a myth, I think it's a bonus. I love to see all these people get so upset when you prove the Bible. But anyway, he came to me and asked me if I'd play Thomas Jefferson in it. So it's a two-parter. I'm just a teaser at the end of the first documentary because it was so long to tell a story. So I think they're each about 2-hour documentaries. So I'll be in the second one coming out later this year.
Okay. But
they have a teaser of me at the very, very end of the first one where, that Jefferson was huge in getting the Louisiana Purchase. I mean, it was, millions of acres. I think 13 states came out of that purchase, and he got it for 13 cents an acre or something. Crazy.
Something ridiculous. Well, and I think too that, again, going back to our faith and our history, and being able to embrace these things and educate our children, give our kids like wholesome and accurate information in media is so important. And what you've done there.
Well, Susan, can I just say real quick, this should be shown in every school kid of every age, from kindergarten through college. Everybody should be forced to see this.
Yeah.
To have these kindergartners, to give them sexual books about positions, and it's unbelievable. But don't teach them the real history of America.
Yeah.
They don't teach civics because they don't want kids to know that it's we the people. They just want bigger government. So I hope that it should be, just without even putting a battle about it. It should be part of every school's curriculum.
Well, that's what we'll hope for. Where can people, I know it was only in theaters for a couple of days. Is there somewhere you can view it outside?
Well, I think it's starting streaming soon, or is right now. I think you just go to AmericanMiracleMovie.com. AmericanMiracleMovie.com. It should give you information on it and show you the trailer and everything.
Okay. What other projects are you working on that you're excited about right now? A
lot. I've got 4 of the movies done in the can that I shot over the last year and a half. They're completely done. They're going to release sometime. I don't know when. I wish they'd tell me. I'm in as an actor in all of them only. 2 of them are secular movies, but they're comedies. One deals with vampires. The other one deals with zombies, and they were just fun to do.
Right.
I know both directors really well, and it was just a fun role. It's not evil. It's not, not sex. It's not overly violent. It's quite comical, actually. And then the other 2, one is called Without a Doubt, which is a wonderful true story about a woman that after 2 months in her pregnancy found out that she had a fast cancer and she wasn't going to make it. And I play the doctor. The real doctor in the movie. I play this guy, and that he tried to talk her into getting an abortion. He said, "Look, for what we're going to have to put you through to fight this cancer, it's probably going to kill the baby anyway." She says, "I'm not aborting this baby." So as she got progressively worse and was bedridden for the last 4 months before she gave birth, Could not even, I mean, if she attempted to even get up, she could break a bone. I mean, everything got so fragile. It was a really rapid bone cancer for her. So she had the baby and died 3 months later. But the baby is alive and well. And that little girl is now 11-year-old girl, and she was on the set with us. So it was a heavily emotional moment to meet this little girl. It was pretty amazing.
That's incredible.
And that one's called Without a Doubt. That'll be out later this year. The other one's called Another Life. It's a true story about this guy in North Carolina and his journey as a mortician, and what he went through in his life to find God. It's a pretty cool story. So, and I've got 2 more movies this year. I'm doing a comedy movie with Dean Cain. It's a golf movie.
Okay.
Dean Cain is going to direct it. I'm going to star in it because I'm a golf nut. So it's very funny. It's faith-based. It's comedy faith.
That'll be fun.
It's with JC Films, Jason Campbell's films. They do a lot of nothing but faith-based movies. And then the other one, I may be directing another one later this year in October. But I've got 3 other documentaries coming out as well. I've got one deals with the Last Supper. It's called Eating with the Enemy.
Oh.
I exec produced it, and I also will be the voiceover on it, narrator. And then I've got another one with John Lennox, who's an apologist. We spent 3 weeks in Oxford, where he's a retired Oxford professor, and 2 weeks in Israel. And it's about proving God in a world of science. This guy's debated all the great atheists of the world. And the other one, I spent another 3 weeks in Israel through archaeological digs. I traced the flow of the Ark of the Covenant. It's called The Quest for the Throne of God. So very fortunate to be very busy. I just booked another documentary that they're going to have me work on. So I don't sit around too much. I'm pretty much busy all the time.
And that's the best choice, right? Keeps you going. Keeps you going.
Hey, Clint Eastwood's my hero in his 90s, still making movies.
There you go. There you go. Well, I thank you so much for being with us today. I know we need to wrap up here soon for you, but we have one thing I'd love to ask is there something that you would say or leave somebody with a word of encouragement or a quote that resonated with you or just something like that for people who are kind of walking on a path towards their passions, but also their convictions and how you manage to work through those things?
It came from an acting coach. I've always remembered this. He said, don't let anyone set your limitations, especially yourself. I think a lot of people in the world today, especially in the youth, I think a lot of people under 30, 35 that have really grown up in how bad the public school system has been over the last 25 years. They have been beaten down. They've lost hope. They've lost drive. They've lost motivation. If they fail, they pretty much just give up right away, and it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's not, anybody else. They want to blame a God they don't believe in. They want to blame everybody else, the world, the government, family, friends for their problems in life. Failure is a good thing. I learned that when I used to caddy at this private country club with very wealthy people. And I asked all these guys I used to caddy for, they were 35 and older. I said, how do you become successful? Every single one of these guys said, oh, I failed, Kevin. And then I failed again. Oh, by the way, I failed for 10 more years before things turned around and got good for me, but I never gave up. And that made me realize failure is a good thing. No is a good thing. Mm-hmm. You learn from those things. Out of every failure and every no, there's something positive about those things as well. Get rid of the negative part of it. But when I moved to LA, it's all acting. It's the same as any business. It's a business, right. But it's all about getting your door shut. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're too big. You're too small. You're too this. You're too old. You're too young. There's always reasons not to hire you, and that just fueled the fire for me. Mm-hmm. I remember telling my agent, I knew from other buddies, we'd call each other. Hey, there's a commercial for this, or hey, there's a reading for this. I'd call my agent, right? Hey, get me in that audition. Kevin, I got 100 other clients. I said, you think your other clients care about me? I don't care about them. Give me the chance to get in the door, to meet the people, mm-hmm. Give them the opportunity to reject me. Okay. Get me in that door. And I knew that was huge for me. And I think if anything, I pass on to people, don't give up so quickly and easily and just give into life, because so many people do it and they just give up.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, and it's nobody. Look in the mirror. That's where it starts. That's where the problem is. You can blame anybody else you want. The problem is it's up to you to make things happen.
I love that. And, that's a Clint Eastwood mentality if I ever heard one, right? Don't give up. Just keep going. Thank you for what you do, because it's inspiring work. And And most of what you do, you probably have sacrificed financially for, because you can make a lot more money out there. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
But
I don't make the kind of money I made in Hercules and Andromeda doing independent movies. That's for sure.
There you go.
But I do like the message of those a lot. And,
and it's important.
I've been very blessed to keep right and working. I can't sit still. I don't much care to sit still.
Well, that's good. That's inspiring too. Thanks for listening to the Not by the Book podcast from the Florida Parent Educators Association. To learn more about homeschooling in Florida, or to find resources to help you on this amazing journey, visit our website at FPEA.com. If you have any suggestions for future guests, contact me, Suzanne, at notbythebook@fpea.com. Thanks again for listening, and be inspired to live your life not by the book.